Hello everyone and welcome to the Story of Flavor with Zach at the Gloucester Main Library. Today we are covering a great recipe for any of you to make your Valentine this month, or if like myself you have no Valentine, an amazing dish for yourself with some awesome leftovers. The plus side of no Valentine, who wins now? This is also a simple and easy recipe that families can make together. And as always, remember, if you mess up making the recipe, that's okay. Everything is fixable. Before we get into the Story of Flavor today, let's cover two fantastic cookbook options from the Gloucester Library. The first offering, and one inspired by two of my best friends, thank you Joe and Liz, is The Hero's Feast of Flavors of the Multiverse, a cookbook inspired by the game Dungeons & Dragons. My personal recommendation from this book is the Golden Stars, a delicious pastry dish filled with sausage, potatoes, and spices. Yes, it is the first recipe in the book, but that doesn't mean I'm lazy. I am, but that's besides the point here. This dish offers a variety of uses from appetizer to main course, and there's just a combination of those spices in the recipe with sausage that hits home for me. Add a little fresh garlic, and this dish goes from they scored a goal to goal! It is simple and easy to make, offering you a great option for your next in-home dinner, party, or an office potluck. My other recommendation from the book is the Rothy steak, a simple cast iron steak recipe using salt, pepper, butter, garlic, and rosemary. You could use those ingredients to cook a shoe and make it taste good, let's be honest. It's a delicious and easy dish to impress your Valentine, family, or friends. It's a cast iron steak, which is also my personal preferred way to cook the steak. Now we're going to get into today's star recipe, one to melt your Valentine's heart. The recipe is hot crab dip, and it comes from the Virginia Hospitality Cookbook, page 14. This is a classic cookbook of Virginia recipes compiled by the Junior League of Hampton Roads. Normally I'd give you a couple of recommendations from the book. However, there are over 600 triple tested recipes in this book. Triple tested means the recipes have been made by more than 3 people to test them and ensure they are good. The recipes in this book cover classic dishes and ones that are so good I honestly couldn't pick just a couple. I am highly recommending you check this book out from our Gloucester Point branch or obtain a copy for your personal kitchen. Today's recipe uses blue crab, which has a direct link to our area and many of the people in and around Gloucester. That is why the hot crab dip was my selection for today's recipe. So now let's get into the recipe, some interesting facts, and corny jokes. Such as, what type of flowers don't you give your Valentine on Valentine's Day? Cauliflowers, womp womp. All right, so for today's ingredients, we've got a pound of crab meat. We are using blue crab from the Chesapeake Bay because it would be a sin not to since we live in the Gloucester area with the Chesapeake Bay right here. Next up, we've got a tablespoon of horseradish, a quarter of a bottle of capers, 2 cups of mayo. We are using Duke's because this is the South and a lot of you unfairly hate on Miracle Whip. It's not mayonnaise, it's dressing. That's how you sound. But also, regular mayo is a lot better for this recipe than using Miracle Whip. And Duke's is a close second for me. Next up, we've got a lemon. I'll explain that a little bit later. This recipe calls for lemon rind. We're gonna end up using lemon juice in this. So we need about 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, which is about half of one of these lemons. So before we cut that, I'll give you a little tip on how to get the most juice out of that. Next up, we've got a half a teaspoon of accent seasoning. This is a flavor enhancer, primarily MSG. If unavailable, you can use soy sauce or an MSG-free flavoring such as Sazon. Also, just as an FYI, MSG was never banned. We can't go into details here, but search and read about MSG. It's safe to use, and it's made via a fermentation process similar to making vinegar and yogurt. We've got what's supposed to be half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I doubled it because I like garlic. We're gonna add 2 dashes of Tabasco, a teaspoon of Worcestershire, and then I have some French bread slices over here so that we can dip into the dip so we can convey it. And also, one thing I'm adding to this recipe is sharp cheddar cheese. That's because I like cheese in my crab dip, so I'm adding that on myself. Now remember, the best way to do this is actually to shred it off the block of cheese, but for ease, we're just gonna use it out of the bag. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna preheat your oven at 350 degrees, pour everything into a casserole dish, or chafing dish as they call it in the book, and then serve it with Melba rounds. I did slightly modify the directions for this so it made a little bit more sense. You're gonna preheat your oven again at 350 degrees, mix all the ingredients together except the cheese. Well, in this case, I am gonna mix the cheese into it, I apologize. And then we're gonna save a little bit for on top. We're gonna bake it for 20 to 30 minutes, and then we're gonna serve it right out of our pan over here that you'll see in a few minutes. Before we get into this, let's have an interesting fact. The home of the blue crab in our area is the Chesapeake Bay. a coastal plain estuary that is the largest estuary in the United States. And its drainage basin covers 6 states: New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, West Virginia, Maryland, and Virginia, as well as Washington, D.C. From information I found, it's one of the 10 largest estuaries in the world, usually placed around number 3. And then, what do you call a vampire sweetheart? His girlfriend. All right, so now we're gonna mix our first 5 ingredients in. We're gonna do the crab. There we go. We're gonna do our capers, our horseradish. Make sure we get all that in there. And then, because I know from making this myself, this tub of Duke's mayonnaise is basically 2 cups of mayo. So we're just gonna get that great sound effect in there. And get this container of mayo emptied in. Perfect. So, how do crabs call their friends? On their shell phones. Crab dips did become popular in the 1970s when warm dips were associated with sophisticated appetizers. So when you eat this dip, don't forget to raise your pinky when dipping your cracker into the dip and impress your Valentine with your sophistication. It's Valentine's, and love is in the air. False. Nitrogen, oxygen, argon, and carbon dioxide are in the air. All right, now we're gonna mix in our last ingredients here. We got our Worcestershire. Throw that in. Our garlic powder. Our accent seasoning, which kind of stuck in the bottom of this. But I did wash my hands beforehand, so don't worry. 2 dashes of our Tabasco. 1, 2, and just a third, because heat's not a bad thing, at least not for me. So for our lemon here, what we're gonna do before we cut into our lemon is we're gonna slightly roll it back and forth on our cutting board here. What this does is it breaks up membranes and juice sacs in the lemon, giving you more lemon juice. So just roll it back and forth a couple times with some gentle pressure on your cutting board or counter before you cut it. So we'll go ahead and cut this. And this is about a medium-sized lemon, and that's gonna give us the right amount of juice that we need for this recipe. So we're gonna squeeze that in. Make sure we don't get any of the seeds in our dip, which I see a couple. And remember, like I said, if you mess up or make a mistake, that's okay. Everything's fixable. So we're gonna take that seed out of here. Oh, I thought I saw one more. Yep, right there. Oh no, got lost for a second. Because nobody wants to bite into crab dip and feel a seed. Maybe a crab shell, but you don't want a lemon seed in there. And so now that we have all this together, we're gonna go ahead and start mixing this up until it's well blended. And while I do that, an interesting fact about the blue crab is it can regrow lost limbs, claws and legs. The regrowth happens gradually over several molts, the shedding of their exoskeletons, with the new limb getting bigger each time. See, lemon was on my mind there. The largest blue crab ever caught in the Chesapeake Bay was 10.72 inches across and weighed 1.1 pounds. That's a lot of delicious crab dip. And so, as you can see, we've got this all incorporated here. Now, we're gonna add about 2/3 of our bag of cheese. That looks about right. And mix that into our dip now. Just get everything nice and incorporated here. And then we're gonna take our baking pan. This one's non-stick. If you don't have a non-stick, just spray a little non-stick spray in there, or you can coat it with butter. And so let's go ahead and throw this in. Making sure we get all of that delicious crab meat out of our bowl here. So it would be a shame to waste it. And I'm going to spread that nice and evenly around our pan so it cooks even and so it looks a lot nicer when it comes out of the oven. Oops, there we go. So I'm going to go throw this in the oven and I'll be back with y'all in about 20 to 30 minutes. Thanks. Now it's time for an educational moment. Blue crabs are essential to our area and many of the people who work in it. These crabs have a typical lifespan of 2 to 4 years in the wild. They can be found from the Atlantic coast into the Gulf of Mexico and as far south as Argentina, per the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. So as you can see, we just got our crab dip out of the oven from the cheese. We got some nice golden brown edges here. Next to it, we've got our toasted French bread. If you want to up your game with the French bread, you can add a little garlic butter to it right before you toast it and just step your game up a little bit. Now, one thing I'm going to show you right now is a guaranteed way to impress your Valentine. So I'm going to take our reserved leftover cheese here and I'm going to sprinkle some across the top of our crab dip, making sure we get some nice even coverage. That's a little warm. And now we're going to toast it, and you can do this in front of your Valentine or your family just for a little extra showmanship and to impress them. So, oops, helps if I turn it on. Fire, fire, fire. So we're just going to lightly go over our cheese here. Don't hold the torch in one spot too long, or otherwise you're going to burn your cheese. Keep it moving. And you can pick one of these torches up at a local store like Walmart, Target, whatever might be near you, or you can get one off of Amazon. And you see we're getting a nice little caramelization from our melted cheese here. And if you wanted to pre-do a little bit of this so you're not taking as much time at the dinner table in front of everybody, you can do that too. You see we're just going to get it nice and starting to brown on here. Look at that nice bubbly gooey cheese. And normally I would taste this in front of you. However, I did literally just take it out of the oven and I don't want to burn my mouth. So remember that, let it cool before you snack into it. Otherwise, thank you for joining us for this week's The Story of Flavor, or this month's The Story of Flavor, excuse me. We hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day and come see us at the library. Have a great day. So the blue crab's Latin name is it Callisthenic spuds? That can't be right. Call insects, spider, no. Oh, Calanectus sapidus, which means beautiful, savory swimmer. Also my nickname in high school swimming. Man walks into a restaurant with a crab under his arm, says to the manager, "You guys make crab cakes here?" Manager says, "Of course, yes we do." "Good," says the man. "It's his birthday." So, hold up. Worcestershire, how do you say that? Worcestershire? Worcestershire? The black gold with the unpronounceable name? Or W sauce. You know the W sauce. No, you know I can't say it, Charlene. Stuff we put in the hamburgers and the meatloaf. Or however you might say it at your house. Hello everyone, and welcome to The Story of Flavor with Zach at the Gloucester Main Library. Today we are covering a great recipe for any of you to make your Valentine this month. Oh, it's Valentine's Day? Don't you mean National Buy a Card Chocolate and Flowers Day? A well-known conspiracy created by a meeting of the big three: greeting card companies, national chocolatiers, and florists to sell more goods. Think about it. Valentine's Day, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas all involve cards, chocolate, and different flowers. Not just a hat rack, my friends. Yeah, a Friends reference. What other cooking shows are giving you Friends references? Just The Story of Flavor. How do you know a man is in love? He loses interest in his car for a couple of days. Thanks, Tim Allen, for that one. More crab dip. Sorry to interrupt this riveting video. I know you're all on the edge of your seat waiting to see if I'll pull this crab dip off. This crab dip will now self-destruct in 60 seconds. Dun, 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 dun. These crabs have seen fluctuations in their populations over the years, with record lows in 2022 and current 2025 numbers close to that of 2022. Current threats to the blue crab include changes in climate due to rising sea temperatures, predators like the invasive blue catfish introduced in the 1970s, pollution in dead zones, as well as shoreline development. If you want to help the blue crab, you can volunteer for restoration projects, join an advocacy network, practice sustainable living, catch and eat blue catfish, which I hear are delicious. You can also check out the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, VIMS, the Marine Police, or other educational resources for more information.